Lydia.
We
What's up,
here.
Lydia?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired though. Again, like you, as we get closer to this conference, I can tell you, I am more and more drained emotionally, mentally, and I'm just listen. I think it's great that you and I can carry each other the way we carry each other
That's
on
right,
this
vibe
on
off
this
that
platform.
energy.
We got a vibe off of that. And so, how's your week been so far?
So I took the advice of last week's session and I said, okay, self-care, we're gonna turn off, we're gonna rest, which is why we're here on a Wednesday. Everybody took a rest day on Monday, Tuesday, but then I played myself because I tried to put my whole week into Wednesday. And so sis is a little tired, but we here. I'm excited, and this has never worked for me. This is family and always feels good and always fuels me. So I had to give me a little B12 real quick, get a little hydrated, put the eye drops in. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today, our guest, man, what's really special about them is, something that you and I were talking about backstage is, when we talk about coaching, right? And we got Akbar Cook coming up, and we got Coach Carlos coming up. But one of the things I asked your help with and support with is that as a coach, I've coached and mentored people now for well over a decade, and probably even longer since I've been in education this long.
Hmm.
The struggle I have sometimes is how to turn that off, right? And if it's even possible to turn it off, right? I'm always looking to improve people. I'm always looking to improve myself. And so sometimes it can be misunderstood as a person who's constantly just driven to find what's wrong with people. And that's really not my intention. My
Hmm.
intention is to push people to a level of greatness that sometimes I know only happens by intensity, right? Because I played sports, so I understand what drives me to be successful. And I just sometimes, struggle with that, whether it's at home, whether it's in, friendships, relationships, and stuff like that. You struggle so much
Hmm.
with being, how to coach, when not to coach,
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah. I get it. I get it. And what I will say is this, right? So as a woman and as a life partner, I find this exact same struggle show up in my own dynamic, right? And it's because when you are in partnership, doing life with someone who operates in that capacity, as you said, the pressure is always, it's always on, and you're always sort of like, striving towards the mark. And so you want your camp to win. So, you like, come on, let's go. Like, let's go. Like, it's no time for all of that. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's kind of like always the mode. And I think it's really just a decision to know when to turn off. But of course, as your partner too, right? And I know First Lady is on the line. We got to know who we're with, right? And we
Yeah.
got to judge the heart of the person who's talking at a particular moment
There
and be
you go. You
like,
see,
listen.
Lydia, you get me. Me and you vibing right now because it's all about intentionality, right? And so when we're talking about this upcoming conference and transformational leadership, there's going to be a different way that everybody delivers a message, right? But we got to know the intent. We got to know
Yeah.
people's reasoning and their heart behind it. And so, I think just like I had a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to, there was a quote, that I kind of looked up and kind of tweaked for myself. And
Yeah.
if this can be put up, I just want people to understand some of my thought process when it comes to coaching. And
I
it
got you.
says, I absolutely believe that people, unless coached, never reach their maximum potential. Nobody who ever gave his best regretted it. This is the
Mm,
part. Nobody who ever gave his best regretted it. The difference between
mm.
ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. Good coaching is good teaching and nothing else. And so I just wanted to, start the conversation with that because
I
our
felt
two,
that. Like
yeah,
real talk,
listen,
I felt that.
yo, and I mean every bit of it, right? I mean every bit of it. And so me saying is that nobody ever, whoever gave his best or her best ever regretted it, right? And it don't hurt, it don't feel good while we're doing it. But and being coach is not an easy thing, but coaching in itself is more of one of those situations, Lydia, where you're misunderstood a lot. And I never want to be that person. So it is my hope that throughout this conversation today, that these two coaches who are just dynamic in their own right can really help our audience understand the importance of kind of maybe pushing
Yeah.
beyond the boundaries that we kind of sometimes set for ourselves and stuff like that. So, you know what? Let's just bring them up, Lydia. Let's bring up.
Absolutely. Let's bring them up. But before we do that, I want to ask everyone who's watching right now, click the share button and share this with a friend, because last week when I say we were dropping gems and people were upset, like, oh my gosh, like I wish I knew. Share this with a friend, share this with someone who you know needs to hear this message, because we're going to get into the nitty gritty, because I think Dennis is touching on something real deep. So let's bring Ak and Coach Carlos to the stage.
What's up, fellas?
Hey.
Uh-oh. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Wait. I saw Coach Carlos just do something, and I know Ak normally does the same thing. Can you do that hand sign again? Do that again.
Mine is 3.
Okay.
I'm from the 313.
Okay. All right. Now watch Ak do the west side. What are we talking about?
Look at
What is this?
Yes,
Wow.
What is going on?
my man.
Look at my boys here, man. It's a pleasure to have both. It's a pleasure to have both of you here, man. You know, Ak has been with, you know, he's a day one. You know, he's one of the founding members of the OSG family. You know what I'm saying? So he's been with us from day one. And Coach, you've just come on board with the family, but it feels like you've been here with us forever. So you know, welcome to the family, man. And so I guess let me just jump right into something. You remember I was just saying something about coaching, right? And I said that I absolutely believe that people, unless coached, never reach their maximum potential. You're a principal, you're a basketball coach, you're a father, you're a friend, you're a husband, you're a lot of different things to a lot of people. My question to you, Ak, is like, how do you turn off Coach Cook? How do you turn off Coach Cook, man?
You don't, Dennis. I'm coaching every day, all day. In America, it was on my heels on Amazing Race because I couldn't turn it off on Sherry. So I only got one way, D, and it's the. I mean, I believe if you really passionate about something and you put the work in too, D, I really believe that, you know, that advice you're going to give is going to go a long way, man. Like I've always, you know, stood on the shoulders of my ancestors. So I always say that I'm the sum of the people around me. If I don't coach them up, like who am I hanging out with, you know?
Yeah. No, that's dope. And you know, again, that whole sometimes now having to go back and apologize, like, you know, like how you had to for the Amazing Race, you had to go back and say, like, you know what, y'all, that's just me. Like, I didn't mean any harm by talking to Sherry like that. That's just how I coach, right? So at times we always, I think as coaches, have to stop and say, you know what, then we got to go back and apologize to some folks, because sometimes the intentionality of it gets lost in translation, right? Because we're just pounding, and people don't always look at it as us, you know, any intention in which we initially had it for. So, you know, we definitely gonna talk about this, Aka. So come on, Coach Carlos, what's up, man? You heard the conversation.
Yeah, I'm with all of you all. That I don't think those who coach and who do it because that's who they are can ever turn it off. That's, you know, you're asking that eternal question, almost like, can a leopard change his spots? And I don't think we can do it. I just can we turn it down? Yeah, we can turn it down, but those who know us and love us know that we know them and love them, and they got to recognize it's not just what we do, it's who we are. And sometimes we have to turn it down. But I don't know if Ak, yourself, Lydia, I don't know if we ever could be around something that we know could be greater and allow it to stay less. I just don't know if we can do it.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. You know, one of my favorite quotes, right? Or one of the things I always say, we all need somebody in our life who knows us and somebody who's going to know us. And that's a coach, right? Because like, if you don't keep those types of people around you, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
We all about feel good now. Anybody got time for that?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And look, and Lydia and Ak and Coach, it's like, you got to think, man, in a couple of weeks, man, we'll be at Columbia University, you know, delivering some amazing messages, and some things are going to come out the way they come out, right?
Right.
And I've been around. I think I've been around enough people who speak and say, you know what? Sometimes we just got to listen to the message. Oftentimes we always get mad at people by saying, you know what? It's not what you said, it's how you say it. And I'm like, yo, no, that's not the important piece to this conversation. Yeah. What's important is what the message is. Yeah. And so, what's the message, man? What's the message for the conference, man? What's the message that you dropping?
Well, I'm talking about the new normal, Dennis. We all got together with this OSG, thing of ours during COVID. And I really thought that it was going to be a shift in education. I thought that everybody saw our plight, meaning they had to become tutors and they had to become, all of these teachers to their children. So I thought that when the world got back, back to normal, that we would be seeing stuff differently, and we're not. So I'm just going to talk about the new normal and the way I see education and where I think it should move. Not just me, just like if you're removing barriers for your babies, there's some things that just have to be done, like I call it no-brainers. So I'm gonna really be talking about things of that nature, and then really pushing the button, man, putting your foot on them and saying, listen, if we got to do this right here to get our babies over there, what you waiting on? We all waiting on Superman. We supposed to be Superman.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm on, D. So I'm gonna push the pedal to the metal, D.
Nah, I hear that, Ak. But Ak, before I get over to Coach, but Ak, one of the things that you and I, if you remember when our first time that you and I met in your auditorium, when Jamila T. Davis introduced us, and you remember, my conversation about being Akbar Cook, the major celebrity who's doing great things, but then it was that other push. The other push that I think you respected as your coach, as your mentor. You remember what I was talking to you about?
Yeah, that was a lot, D. I don't even know which part you talk about, but I know.
I'm talking.
Yeah, what you gonna say?
Yeah, we were talking about as far as the principal. What's the next level you got to go to?
And my thing was, and D know this when I met him. I was getting all these accolades for doing all these amazing things as far as the community and culture and things of that nature, but I still wasn't getting the recognition for being the instructional leader. So D was pushing me, putting the battery in my back, like, what you going to do? So one of the first things I did, all right, I'm going to get my baby's associate's degree. So we did that while we started OSG during COVID. I graduated last year, 16 kids with their associate degree in business administration. So we moved on that. So it's more things of that nature, D, like just really honing in on the academic side, trying to not say I'm all about the test scores, but I'm really trying to show the world that I'm not just the community guy. I can be that instructional leader. But that was one of the things, D, put that battery on my back to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that good stuff.
Absolutely. So Coach, again, this is me pushing you and pushing and getting you to talk a little bit too. What are you going to be coaching us about on during this conference?
Yeah, well, first I want to pause and say, Akbar, you graduated some kids with their associate's degrees. I mean, that needs to be posted out there. Share that.
Exactly.
That need to be shared. That they coming out your school with associate degrees, but that's good stuff. Well, as it relates to me, for the last decade, if not more, I have been trying to tell the world that you have got to engage. Not involved. You have got to engage your parents. I've been telling folks all around the country, when I talk about engagement, stakeholder engagement, one of the things I've been harping on is you cannot let that underutilized resource sit on the sidelines. And that's our families. They know our kids. They know what their need. We've got to get them off the bench and into the game. I've been saying it for 10 years, but COVID came along. And now everybody realizes that we have got to get these families involved in the process or engaged in the process. And I'm going to be making that distinction between the difference of involvement and engagement. That our families are underutilized resource, and we're going to be showing them strategies on how to get them engaged so that they can be a part of the MTSS behavioral process, so that families can be a part of the become a part of the academic process. Families are the key, particularly if we're going to keep losing instructional leaders like we're doing. You cannot always expect teachers to carry that load. So that's what I'm going to be pumping up those attendees with, man, and giving them field tested strategies on how to get this done.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I mean, you talking my language because, prior to being in this space, which I love, my first, sort of introduction to the education realm, I was a parent coordinator. And here in New York City, that's all around parent engagement. And so when we think about ourselves in the capacity of coaches, and we think about the success that you've been able to have and some of the work that you're pushing, Coach Carlos, how do we begin to to coach our families? And I'm just curious how important, and I mean that might even be almost a silly question, but like, what is the level of impact if we don't engage our families? I'm gonna throw that to you first, Coach Carlos, and then hand it over to you, Ak.
Yeah, well, there's so many layers to that question, but let me start here. If we don't engage our families, we're not bringing in the person with the greatest amount of information about a child's assets and deficits. It's like going to buy an appliance from a store, but not talking to anybody about how to use it. Is this a high-end appliance? Do I turn this knob? Do I turn that knob? What if you took 5-10 minutes and talked to the salesperson? He gave you all a quick training on the features and the benefits of that appliance. It's like buying a vehicle and just giving somebody cash for it and driving off the lot. Well, hold on. Let me show you how this new 2023 Volvo works. It's when we have kids coming in and we don't solicit, enlist, and activate parents' engagement on their child, we're missing out on some key assets, some key information on how best to teach, train, and to keep this child out of trouble. We're missing some great information.
Yeah. And I know, your first line of business, besides being an athletic coach, is, I mean, you say literally saving the lives of babies every single day. So like, talk to us a little bit about what family engagement looks like in your school community, and just sort of like, again, what is the level of impact if we don't?
Well, I think, Lydia, great question. And one of the first things I did was I moved without the parents. I say locus parentis in the event that the parent is not there. I'm the parent, but I was realizing that I only can go but so far. And we are, I guess our elders, and even some of us, we are trained to project our brokenness on children, right? So it's like, oh, don't touch the credit. Oh, I wouldn't do that if I was you, and all of that. So we don't get to the parents and let them know, like, there's a different world out there right now. So I take the FAFSA. Like, everybody want their kid to go to college, but the parents don't help the kids fill out the FAFSA. And I'm like, I get it, Mom. I know you let Pookie claim little Akbar on your taxes, but guess what? The FAFSA don't care about that. If you want free, academic, application for federal student aid, you got to fill out the FAFSA. So it's like, we cannot get this roadmap of success for our students and not involve the parents, because we can do all this amazing stuff, but that baby going home and it's toxic at the crib and all this other stuff, it's going to wear on them. So I'm big on, engaging my parents. I have a great PTSO right now. They've been doing some amazing things for me, but we have to involve the parents, and we can't keep doing all these wraparound service for the kids and not doing it for the parents. So it's like, now I got lights on, down on the first floor, and then we doing some, real estate classes for the parents. We're doing some, get them back from, if they had some hard times, did some stuff with the mayor. So it's all type of stuff that you can do, but we got to involve the parents, and that's one way that we've been, changing the narrative.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, and something I was reading about, Coach, and I can talk about this as well, is the disengagement cliff that you talk about oftentimes, Coach. Talk about that disengagement cliff and what is it, and again, I'm gonna let Ak then take it from there, because I think it has a name, but I think it's a reality in so many different schools and stuff like that. So talk about the disengagement cliff.
Yeah, well, my heroines are Karen L. Mapp from Harvard University, and Joyce Epstein from she wrote the key information. She pretty much started us off thinking about from Johns Hopkins on how we need to engage parents. Now, when we start looking at their research, we look at what she wrote about, we look at what Karen L. Mapp wrote about, and Beyond the Bake Sale. We're talking about now going beyond the point where we're just asking parents to do cookies and to do pies and to raise funds. When we get to this point where parents get to this point, or families, and I'm changing my vernacular to go away from just parents, because I like to use families more so, because when we talking about the construction of families now, just to say parents, it's a whole different makeup now. So you'll hear me say families even more so than parents, but it's a mind switch that I have to go to. So getting back to your point about this cliff, it gets to, I see it a couple of different ways. It gets to this point where folk fall off. You can look at the cliff from there. You can only take parents so far, so one, or family so far. One of the things that I encourage schools to do is to create what I call a meaningful minimums. Now, we can't mandate families do anything, but if every culture created meaningful minimums and created in this building at my house, this is what will make sure that your child is successful. If you do these meaningful minimums. And it's interesting, every school has their different meaningful minimums to keep parents engaged, or families engaged, so that they don't fall off. Listen to what Akbar was what he was just talking about. You get to the point, parents at his school can be engaged at this level, so we meet them there. Parents in another district may be engaged at another level, but you certainly don't want to get them to the point where they are falling off out of the engagement altogether.
Yeah, perfect. So same thing with you, man. When we talk about, we talk about the engagement part, but I definitely wanted to talk about this disengagement cliff that seems to happen at times and in different schools. And so is that something that you kind of thought about when you say, you know what, we can't push parents so far, but we also we got to at least lead them far enough out on this cliff that they can see the potential of what Lights On and what Westside and you and your whole team is doing. So talk a little bit about what that feels like, by way of a disengagement cliff.
Yeah, so I got to acknowledge Carlos, man. That meaningful minimums, man. That is big time. I definitely you're gonna hear me say that someplace else.
Yeah, do it, Doc.
Yeah, but one of the things they did, we had to have some uncomfortable conversations, right? I mean, maybe because I'm in high school, maybe because I'm in inner city, maybe I'm a traditional public school. But I had to really call my parents and say, listen, man, like the days of y'all being storks and y'all dropping y'all babies off on our doorstep and then you coming back in 4 years and hoping everything worked out, that's over. That's over. And I know, and I talk about this all the time, D, like how, there's so many child protective services for a baby when they're in middle school, when they're younger, but the high school, it's nothing. Like can't call, child protective services if a kid is, being neglected, they just deal with a little check. So it's like at my school is like, come on, guys, like you want me to do all of this stuff with the baby, but you're not even giving me the meaningful minimums. You're not giving me nothing. And you expect me to get these desired results. It's insanity. Like we're doing the same thing over and over. And I'm tired of just graduating kids. And that's what we're going to talk about at the conference, D. Like we all can graduate kids. That's like you're not getting no big scar on your head because you graduate. I can graduate a corpse like Weekend at Bernie's. That's not no love for that. What are you doing besides that? Like, how are you making sure that baby is ready for life? And it's like, you got to have them conversations. You got to talk about living wage with the parents. Like, your mother is busting her butt, my man, to do all of this stuff just to get you that bare minimum. And you want to be here not cutting up and not helping her out. But you need to know that in this town that you live in, this how much it's going to cost you to get out of her house and not have to listen to her. So just having that stuff, like, and just engaging the parents that way, like, listen, we going to all keep a G. I know you're struggling, but if you meet me right here, I can take your baby to, to wherever we want to take them. So it's like that, having uncomfortable conversations, D, and re-engaging them that way.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and so just going back to what we had talked about initially, and let me know what you think about this, Lydia, is something else called caring engagement, right? So when we think about what we do as leaders and as school leaders, the important aspect of the caring aspect of engagement, and that has to be something that we talk about, because it's more than just, again, simply saying, come follow me. transformational is that you're going to get people to buy in and to believe what it is that you're doing, but you got to do it through care, right? And it goes back to what I was saying that I struggled with is like, how do you convince people that I'm only doing this because I care? How do you convince people that I'm coaching you this hard because I care? So what I want us to be able to now talk about is
there it goes right there. That's your answer.
Go ahead.
Right there. I told us already. Focus on the love, and it'll be all right.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, and that's what I want us to tap in right now. Both Carlos and Aki's like the caring engagement. Get to that space of understanding that caring sometimes ain't gonna be nice, right? It's not gonna always be sweet. It's not gonna always be have the real intimate words. Sometimes it's gonna be like, yo, let's get that done and let's.
That's right.
We'll talk about that later. So let's talk about caring engagement, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in here. I kind of look at it almost like our marriage vows. In our marriage vows, it says for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, till death do us part. Now, I mean, if any of us have entered into that covenant, to that land of holy matrimony, you know how that goes. You love your children, you love your spouse, you love your significant other. But there are sometimes some tough conversations, and that's how it is in school. I'm having this conversation with you because I care. That's the reason why we're having this conversation. Now, if I didn't care, then guess what my conversation would look like? And oftentimes we don't understand that a caring conversation, someone who truly loves you, has all the conversations with you. They're sitting there shaping you. They're sitting there molding you. And a real coach is going to say, come on, you got one more push-up. Come on, you got 3 more. You can give me 5 more. You can give me more. You can give me more. They're always pushing you. If they're not pushing you, I think we truly can say they may not really care for you.
Facts. And look, Lydia, so since Smitty put it in the chat, so those didn't know, we got a best-selling author in the house by the name of Akbar Cook. You see the book,
Yes,
Focus on the Love. And and I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriate I think you helped me to answer my own question. Is like, I'm looking at the book over there on my desk, and I'm like, yo, that's what it is. Not only should I focus on the love, but so should the people that I'm coaching focus on the love, right? Yeah. Like that's the part. So I'm like, yo, Ak, go ahead, man. Take it from here, Ak.
I mean, Carlos talked about marriage, but I'm talking about from the aspect of a family. Like I got 3 sons. I want to lead them the best way I know how. And if I'm running my house and running my family like I run my business, like I run my day-to-day, like I run, my friendships and all of that, how could you lose? Like, so when you say that caring engagement, that's the only way I know how, D. I'm not this guy. And most of our babies now, they trained to go. They don't take no disrespect whatsoever. You want to see them go off the cliff, like Carlos said, come at them wrong. So you have to come that way, but you got to be fair. You got to be consistent. You got to just be all these things that they want to aspire to be. You got to take from there. So when I talk about focus on the love, it's just literally just running your business and everything you do like you would run your household. Now we got some bad, people that their households ain't that tight. But if you're coming from a caring standpoint, man, I just think like you can't lose, because I know I was raised like I'm supposed to do better than the previous generation. I want my son to do better than me. So imagine if you building up the next leader. And it's and back to this coaching thing. D, we had this one recent principals meeting, and they talked about mentoring, they talked about coaching. They was like, right now, all of us are probably good drivers, right? But no matter what we do without coaching, without mentorship, we won't become a NASCAR driver. Be good drivers, but you're not going to be on highway. That's good. An hour. You need coaching, you need mentorship. So you can be the best driver you can be, but you're not going to get to that level if you don't get coaching. So I thought that was, something that made me think about what you guys are talking about today.
That's good.
But even in chapter 4, right, where the title of this chapter is When Love and Leadership Meet, right? And you go into detail about it. You let people understand, like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard to accept leadership if love isn't attached to it.
But the people want to know, like, can they get the book at the conference? Like, is Focus on the Love, like, it's all in the chat. Is it gonna be at the conference?
Listen, Denise already answered. That's his manager. Denise is his manager. Denise already said.
Yeah, she's definitely my manager.
Yeah, Focus on the Love will most certainly be at the conference.
We'll be there.
Yes,
definitely be there. So, yeah, no, this is a dope conversation, fellas, man, and you know, I think just really tying it all into coaching and engagement and leadership, transformational leadership. It's all about us recognizing that, you know, that the recipients of this coaching and of this love have to understand that the real intention of people, right? And so when you're trying to save lives, the way you guys are saving lives, like we save lives, OSG saving lives, we don't always have the time to or the convenience of explaining everything. You just got to know me.
Yeah.
You got to know Ak. You got to know Carlos. You got to know Lydia. You got to know them to be able to say, you know what, their intentions are all good. You know what I'm saying? And so let's just kind of let's wrap up this conversation by just talking just again about the intentionality of truly coaching, leading, loving, all at the same time. The intentionality that you all can leave with people to say, here's some things that you guys can do tomorrow that can help you to become a better coach. Whether it's of students, whether it's of teachers, whether it's of, you know, your employees, if you work for a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. There's a reason why we are all using the term coaching and not mentoring. I have nothing against mentoring, but I'm making the distinction between coaching and mentoring. When I think about coaching, coaches are those who have a plan that leads to success. It's that they have a playbook. When you think about the coach for Kansas City, Andy Reid, when you think about New England's coach, when you think about a basketball coach, when you think about a coach in corporate America, when you think about a coach in education, what comes to my mind, if you hear me talk about, is someone who has a blueprint for success. Someone who can take a team of instructional leaders, who can take a team of building leaders, who can take a team of students, who can take a team of kids on a sports team and say, look, follow this game plan. I know it works. I won the city championship last year with this play. I won the state championship last year with this play. That's why I'm coaching. So stay with me. Follow my script. I got a plan. And at the conference, those who attend, you're gonna hear a plan. You're gonna hear Akbar talking about his plan. You're gonna hear me talk about my plan. We're coaches with proven results and a plan. We're just not public speakers. We have a plan that's proven. So that's the way I would respond. And we care enough about you to share with you these nuggets from the plan.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Ak. Wrap us up, Ak.
Man, I don't even know what to say, D. It's so much jewels being dropped right here, man. I'm just saying, oh, thank you, brother Carlos, D, Lydia. I'm excited, man. I see a cousin Mark in there. I mean, when I coach D, I coach from the heart. I coach as if I want to be coached that way, but I do coach them individually. I know I can yell at this one, and I probably got to tiptoe around that one. You know what I'm saying? So I do teach them, differently. But I think that's education right now. You know, we talk about this all the time, D. I think that we should have, individual education plans for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And we lifelong learners. I need it because D may talk to me one way and talk to Malik a different way, but talk to Dr. Action another way. So I'm always learning, man. I'm always learning, and I appreciate this. So, y'all just want to see our love on display when we come to that conference that day. We focus on the love. Obviously, hint, we doing that. But like we doing this for the love. Like D called us, Denise called us, Dr. Baez called us. We there. We could be doing anything in the world, but we're gonna be there with y'all, man. And we're gonna give you everything we got, man. I take that from, I heard about I think it was George Gervin. It was like 3 people in the crowd, and he said that was 3 people that never have seen me play. So he went hard that day and dropped whatever he do. So it's like that's how I'm gonna bring it, D. I'm gonna bring it everything I can, and I'm gonna coach my butt off, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Per usual.
Yes,
OSG. Often imitated, but
never duplicated.
You can't get this nowhere else.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We back next week. How many days to the conference? Ooh.
Countdown.
Hold on. First lady, you in the chat. How many days we got to the conference? How many days we got? Let us know. Let us know.
Come on, Denise.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, but the
Yeah,
registration closes on March 2nd. She said, please be clear. Please be clear.
Get
Get your
March
tickets
7th,
now.
March 2nd.
Do not be last minute Larry. We changing the narrative around here, folks. Okay. We're not waiting till the last minute. So get your tickets, get in the building. Yeah. Again, OSG often imitated. We are never duplicated. We are different breeds. So we're gonna see y'all next week.
All right, y'all. Salute.
All right. Y'all be blessed.
All right.